Parents, have you ever wondered why your child seems to fight you at every turn? That moment when no, or the eye rolling feels like a personal attack? You're not alone. Studies show that 80% of parents report daily power struggles with their children. But here's the secret. Their resistance is not about you. It's a cry for autonomy, connection, or understanding. In this video, we'll uncover the real reasons children push back against authority and share proven positive discipline strategies to turn defiance into cooperation. If you're visiting for the first time, I'm Dr. Tanisha Burke, your positive parenting coach, and welcome to our channel. Are you a subscriber? If you're not, we encourage you to subscribe and join our growing community of parents from around the world. Also, when you subscribe, you will be notified of all our upcoming videos. Thank you so much for subscribing. As parents, teachers, or caregivers, we have all experienced those moments when a child digs in their heels, refuses to follow instructions, or outright challenges authority. Whether it's a toddler shouting no, or a teenager rolling their eyes and ignoring a request, resistance to authority can be frustrating and personal. But here's the truth. Children aren't resisting authority just to push your buttons. There's a deeper reason behind their behavior, rooted in their developmental needs and emotional world. Understanding this can transform how we respond and help us guide the children toward cooperation and respect with using positive discipline principles. For the rest of this video, we'll explore the reasons children resist authority, why it's a natural part of their growth, and practical positive discipline strategies to address it while fostering connection and mutual respect. So why do children resist authority? At its core, resistance to authority is often a child's way of asserting their need for autonomy, control, or understanding. Children, like all human beings, crave a sense of control over their lives, to feel heard, and to trust the adults guiding them. When these needs are not met, resistance becomes their tool for expressing discomfort or seeking balance. So right now, let's break down the key reasons. The first reason is the drive for autonomy. From the moment they learn to say no, children are wired to seek independence. This is a healthy part of development, especially during toddlerhood, which is ages 2 to 4, and adolescence, anywhere between the ages of 10 and 18, when their brain is focused on building a sense of self. Resistance often emerges when children feel their autonomy is being stifled by overly rigid rules or lack of choice. For example, a 5-year-old refuses to put their shoes on because they want to choose their own outfit, or a teenager might ignore curfew because they feel micromanaged and want to prove they can make their own choices. The second reason for resistance is unmet emotional needs. Children often lack the language to express complex emotions like frustration, fear, or sadness. When they feel unheard, disconnected, or overwhelmed, they may push back against authority as a way to signal their distress. For example, a 7-year-old who struggles with a new school might throw a tantrum over homework, not because they hate math, but because they're feeling insecure and need reassurance. The third reason children resist authority is to test boundaries. Children test limits to understand the world and their place in it. Resistance is their way of asking, "What if I do this?" Or, "Are these rules consistent?" This is especially common in early childhood and during the preteen years when cognitive and social development accelerates. For example, a 10-year-old might argue about bedtime to see if the rules bend or to gauge how much their opinion matters. The fourth reason for resistance is a lack of trust or connection. If a child doesn't feel emotionally safe or connected with the adult in charge, they're less likely to comply. This can happen when discipline feels punitive, communication is one-sided, or a child perceives adults are being unfair. For example, a teenager who feels their parents always criticizing them might shut down or refuse to engage in family chores or discussions. Our fifth and final reason why children resist authority relates to developmental mismatches. Sometimes expectations don't align with a child's developmental stage. Asking a 3-year-old to sit still for an hour or a 13-year-old to manage their emotions like an adult can lead to resistance because they simply don't have the skills yet. Another example could be a 4-year-old who might refuse to clean up their toys, not out of defiance, but because the task feels so overwhelming without guidance. Positive discipline is rooted in the work of Jane Nelson and Alfred Adler, who emphasizes mutual respect, connection, and teaching life skills over punishment or control. Instead of viewing resistance as a battle to win, we can see it as an opportunity to understand our children's needs and guide them toward cooperation. So here are some practical strategies to address resistance while fostering trust and independence in your children. Our first tip is to validate their autonomy. Giving children age-appropriate choices satisfies their need for control, which reduces power struggles. A good thing to do is to offer limited choices, no more than 2. For example, would you like to wear your red shoes or your blue shoes? Or do you want to do your homework now or after a snack? It's also important to involve them in problem solving. For example, for a teenager, you might ask, what's a fair curfew that works for both of us? Allowing natural consequences when it's safe is also a good option. If a child refuses to wear a coat, let them feel cold briefly to learn the value of dressing warmly. Here's an example of honoring autonomy. When a 6-year-old Maya refused to brush her teeth, her mom said, "You can choose to brush now and we'll read 2 stories, or brush later and we'll have time for 1. What feels better to you?" Maya feel empowered and choose to brush right away. Our second tip is to build emotional connection. When children feel seen and heard, they're more likely to cooperate because they trust the adult's intentions. We can do this by practicing active listening, get down to their level, make eye contact, and reflect their feelings. For example, it sounds like you're really upset about cleaning your room. Can you tell me more? A good way to build connection is to spend one-on-one time. Even 10 minutes of undivided attention daily can strengthen your bond. Connection can also be built by using empathy before correction. Instead of, "Stop whining," try, "I can see you're frustrated. Let's figure this out together." So putting it all together, a good way to build connection, we'll use this example. When a 12-year-old Ethan refuses to do chores, his dad noticed he seemed withdrawn. After heart-to-heart about school stress, Ethan opens up, and they created a chore schedule that felt more manageable. Our third tip to reducing resistance is to set clear, consistent boundaries. Children thrive with predictable limits, which provides safety while allowing them to test boundaries without fear of harsh consequences. We can set clear boundaries by stating expectations positively. Instead of, "Don't leave your toys everywhere," say, "Please put your toys in the bin when you're done." Following through calmly is another way to set clear, consistent boundaries. If a rule is broken, enforce a logical consequence, like pausing playtime to clean up. Another thing is to co-create rules. For older children like teenagers, involve them in setting family guidelines to increase buy-in. Let's look at another example. When 9-year-old Leela kept interrupting during dinner, her parents established a family rule. Everyone gets a turn to share. They practiced it together, and Leela felt included, which reduces her need to interrupt. Our fourth tip for reducing resistance is to teach skills through guidance. Resistance often stems from a lack of skills like self-regulation or problem solving. Teaching these skills helps children meet their expectations. We teach skills by breaking down tasks into steps. For young children, for example, you say, first we pick up the blocks, then we pick up the dolls. We teach skills by modeling the desired behavior. Show how to stay calm during frustrations and narrate your process. For example, I'm feeling annoyed, so I'm going to take a deep breath to feel better. And we can teach skills through role playing. Practice scenarios like sharing or following instructions to build confidence. Let's look at another example. When 5-year-old Noah resisted bedtime, his parents taught him a calm down routine with deep breathing techniques and a favorite stuffed animal. Over time, he used it independently. Our fifth and final tip is to shift from control to collaboration. When children feel like partners rather than subordinates, they're more motivated to cooperate. Collaboration can be fostered through using the we language. For example, how can we make mornings smoother instead of you need to hurry up? Collaboration is also established when we acknowledge our children's efforts. For example, you might say, I notice you tried really hard to put on your shoes. That's awesome. It's also important to focus on solutions, not blame. If a child spills milk, say, oops, accidents happen. Let's clean it up together. Let's look at another example to reinforce this tip of moving from control to collaboration. When 14-year-old Ava ignored her study schedule, her mother asked, what's getting in the way of studying? Let's brainstorm a plan together. Ava suggested a new routine and her resistance faded. While addressing resistance, it's easy to fall into habits that escalate conflicts. So here are some important things to look out for. The first pitfall to avoid is power struggles. Forcing compliance, for example, because I said so, fuels resistance. Instead, aim for connection and problem solving. The second pitfall to avoid is punitive consequences. Timeouts or yelling may stop behavior temporarily, but don't teach skills or build trust. Focus on logical consequences and teaching moments. The third pitfall is ignoring emotions. Dismissing a child's feelings, for example, stop crying, this is not a big deal, can make them feel invalidated, which increases defiance. Validate first, then guide. The fourth and final pitfall is inconsistency. Changing rules or consequences confuses children and invites testing. So, stay firm but kind. When we approach resistance with empathy, clear boundaries, and collaboration, we're not just solving immediate conflicts, we're equipping children with lifelong skills. So here are some of the things they learn through this process. They learn self-regulation, how to manage emotions, and make thoughtful choices. They learn problem solving, how to manage challenges creatively and respectfully. They learn respectful communication, how to express needs and listen to others. And finally, they learn resilience, which includes how to bounce back from mistakes and try again. Over time, these skills reduce resistance because children feel capable, valued, and connected. They're more likely to cooperate not out of fear, but because they trust the adults in their lives and want to contribute to the relationship. The next time your child resists your authority, take a deep breath and see it as a window into their world. Are they craving control, feeling unheard, or testing the waters? By addressing the root cause with positive discipline, you can turn moments of defiance into opportunities for growth and connection. Start small. Try one strategy, like offering a choice or validating their feelings, and notice the shift. It won't happen overnight, But with patience and consistency, you'll build a relationship where connection feels natural and resistance becomes a chance to learn together. What's one resistance challenge you're facing with your child? We'd love to hear from you, so share in the comments and let's brainstorm a positive discipline solution together. We're now at the end of our video of understanding why our children resist and what we can do as parents to reduce resistance and increase cooperation. We hope that this content has been meaningful and impactful for you and your family. Now, if you have friends or family who you think may benefit from this content, please share this video with them. Also, if you think the channel is a wonderful learning channel, please share the channel with them as well. Thank you so much for joining and thank you so much for your support. Goodbye for now.